All right, grade 12s, hopefully you're doing all right. We're going to talk about purchasing a new vehicle. Just to make things a little bit more clear, there was a part of the video that didn't send, so I have to redo it right now. So the first part of the homework you would have finished with the set of notes, but you would have gotten the other set of notes talking about new vehicles, and that homework where I said do not do, this is where you're going to do it. But we're going to first talk about what to deal with when dealing with purchasing a new vehicle. So we'll go over a little bit of information in this first part. Second part is we'll do some examples, and then that amortization table will come back. So we've talked about it in house finance. Well, we're going to talk about as well in vehicle finance. So let's start with purchasing a new vehicle. All right, so the set of notes that you should be on right now is page 21. A lot of it is readable information, so you might have read through it already, but I'll just go through a little bit of an explanation just to help you guys out. If you have any other questions, of course, you can message me and ask me what those terms mean. So the first one, it says, before you buy a vehicle, you must decide how you'll pay for the vehicle. So most people make a loan either at an automobile dealership or at a bank to pay for their vehicle. If they've saved enough money, it's also possible to pay cash for the vehicle, which means that you're using your own money to pay that total cost of the vehicle at this time of the purchase. So just keep in mind, you can do that. You don't have to pick a loan. You don't have to buy it alone. If you can afford it right off the bat, by all means, pay for it right away. When you buy a vehicle, you pay for the entire cost. You can drive the vehicle as often as much as you want. Also, once you have paid for the vehicle you own, it's all and it's free to sell or trade whenever you wish. So that's your decision. You own it. Okay. When we talk about trade-in allowance, okay, if you already own the vehicle, you may want to use your old vehicle as part of the payment for the new one. The dealer may give you a trade-in allowance. Okay, so if you decide to trade your old vehicle for a new one, your dealer, for example, might say, well, the trade-in value is about $5,000. So when you go in and you pay for that car that you want, you might get $5,000 off of your older vehicle. That's the example it gives you there. Okay. The new term we're going to be talking about today is called manufacturer suggested retail price. So basically what that means is whatever car you're selling price is, the manufacturer recommends to the retailer, which is the dealership. So whatever price it is, it's a recommendation as to what that price actually may be. Each new vehicle comes with an MSRP. The MSRP is also known as the sticker price because it's placed on a window of the vehicle when it leaves the factory. The MSRP of a vehicle includes the base price, so that's number one, any original equipment or any air conditioning excise tax, and destination or freight charge. The base price is suggested price of the vehicle without any additional features. So when we're just looking for the pure base price, okay, you might get an example where it's looking just for the base price. We're not including anything involved in it. Okay, the next part is the optional equipment. May include any options listed on the vehicle features chart. The air conditioning excise tax is about $100. The payment required for the vehicles with air conditioning that are purchased in Canada or imported from the United States. And this designated charge covers the cost that a dealership may pay to transport the vehicle from manufacturing facility to a car dealership. Okay, so we're going to do example one now. All right, so let's do example one together. So example one, just as we talked about, the manufacturer suggested retail price has a few things here. Our base price we've talked about, optional equipment. The total options is just listing all the optional equipment and adding them all up together. You have your excess tax, we've talked about, is $100. Your destination charge, okay, and your total price will give you basically your whole car. Okay, so let's do example one together. So the base price in this case is $25,880. Okay, so we're gonna box that because we're gonna keep that information. It has the following optional equipment. So we have a few equipment pieces here. we have $1,260. We have a $995 automatic transmission costing, and AM FM radio station $200. Yep. In addition, there's air conditioning excess tax, which we said is always going to be $100, and we have a destination charge of $620. So all we have to do with all these numbers is actually put them in the boxes. So base price, for example, you can see here, I'm putting in $25,880. Okay, optional equipment. Well, we have a few things that we have to put in here. You might not be able to fit it all in here, but we have 3 things. Okay, we have a package group costing. Again, you're not going to be able to fit all this in here, so you might need notes. You might need loose leaf for this. So package, in this case, $1,260. I'm going to move in a little bit further over here. So $1,260. We also have the $995 and the $200. So $995. Automatic transition, I'll put AT and AM, and what a player. Okay, $200. Okay, so we're gonna add all those numbers up for our total options. That should get us a total options of $2,455. So we got the $25,880. We have the $2,455, and then the excess tax, we talked about that being $100. The destination charge, which it tells you $620. Okay, and then total price, we just want to add them all up together. So you got $29,055. Okay, so what exactly does this number mean? Well, below you'll see the answer key, so you can kind of follow along with the answer key as well. It should be pretty consistent with what you're doing right now. But when we look down here, okay, and I'll just kind of read this through you here, the MSRP of a particular vehicle model will be the same at all dealerships. However, the actual sale price may vary by dealership. This is because the arbitrary markups and markdowns imposed by the dealership. So when we talk about certain taxes, certain things that are marked up a little bit higher, it all depends on the dealership that you're buying the car from. It might not be the exact $29,055. There's a lot of things that we still haven't taken into consideration that might increase the charge or decrease. Maybe a deal is going on as you're buying the car. A dealer may increase the price of a car to earn more money or to reduce the price to encourage a sale. Therefore, it's important that you shop around before you decide to purchase. That's the key thing there, is just look around, do some research, look through the internet. You might be surprised that the car that you think is a base of $50,000 might be even lower, maybe in the $45,000 range, but you have to do your research on that. All right, so the next part is going to be purchasing a new vehicle outright. So there's many different ways you want to purchase a vehicle. This is the first part, is just buying it completely. If you can afford it and you don't have to take loans out, this is my best suggestion. So I'll read through a little bit of information, and then we'll go through example 2 of what that looks like. There's different methods in which you pay. So you just kind of have to make sure you make the best choice. So when we talk about outright paying, in addition, we've talked about the MSRP. The total purchase price of the new vehicle will include a number of fees and taxes. Okay, these include a documentation fee. So just make sure you have a point of information, fee, a tire tax, okay, and the provincial and goods and service tax. When we talk about provincial sales tax and goods tax, talking about the provincial and federal government taxes. Okay, for Manitoba, it's 7%. For GST all across the federal, it's 5%. So when we add all that together, we're really paying an amount of 12% tax. Okay, and that, as I mentioned earlier and before, you do have to pay taxes on a car, which means your price is going to be increased a little bit. So note that the values for PST and GST, they might change. We used to pay a little bit more. PST in Manitoba, I believe, was 8%. So now it's 7%. So just keep in mind that you're updated on your taxes. If you have saved up enough money, you can purchase a new vehicle outright. This means you won't have to pay any sort of monthly payments. Instead, you'll pay for the total purchase price of the vehicle, include any additional features that you want before you start driving your vehicle. To calculate the cost of purchasing the vehicle, these are some important steps that you have to remember. The first thing you have to do is make sure you add up your MSRP, documentation, and tire tax. So these need to be added up together. The next step now is to subtract the trade-in allowance. That's only if you are trading an old car. If you have an older car, you can subtract whatever amount from the car that you actually want from the amount, right, you found in step 1, whatever that is. And number 3, multiply the amount in step 2 by the 1.12, which I said, remember that 12% here of GST tax, we have to move it over, okay? We have to actually multiply it to make it a decimal. So it's really 1.2%, or 1.12, I should say. Okay, and I'll explain why when we actually do the calculations. That will give you your total purchase price of the vehicle, including your taxes. So, example 2 coming next. All right, let's do example number 2. Let's read it through. So Moria Wheeler purchases a new mid-side automobile from Dealer Car dealership. The automobile has an MSRP of $22,998. So we already know what the MSRP is, included everything that's in there. Moria receives a trade-in allowance of $5,000 for her old vehicle. So she has an old car, she wants to trade it in. We're going to make sure we take that away from the total that we have here. Moria receives a trade-in allowance. We've said that already. So my brain is not working right now. So calculate the total purchase price of her new vehicle if, in addition to PST and GST, she pays a documentation fee of $149 and tire tax of $14. Okay, so these are going to come into handy because we need to follow our steps. Okay, so again, step 1 is add together the MSRP documentation fee and the tire tax. So in this case, we want to add $22,998. We want to add it to our tire tax, $14, and our $149 documentation fee. Okay, when we add all those up, I don't have a calculator on me, so I'm just going to rush really quick here. $22,988 plus 14 plus 149, $23,161. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, if applicable, we will subtract any trade-in allowance. In the question it said what? $5,000 for a trade-in. So we're going to subtract this $23,161 minus 5,000. That should get us an amount of $18,161. Okay, that's step 2, and step 3 is the tax portion. Okay, so this is where the 1.12 comes in handy. So we got 18.161. Okay, or 18,161 multiplied by 1.12. Okay, so the reason we want to multiply in 1.12 rather than 0.12, if we did it 0.12, we would have to add it on top of the 18.161. But when we multiply by 1.12, it actually adds up together. It automatically adds up. Okay, so when you actually do it on your calculator, you're going to get the final answer of, multiply by 1.12, 2,004 $20,140.32. Okay, if I had just multiplied 0.12, which is the exact same, I would have to add it on top. So if you do it on a calculator again, 18,161 multiplied by 0.12, okay, I get a different number. I get 2,179.32. Okay, so that would be my tax part. This is still my price. I have to add these two. I would have to add these two numbers together if I wanted to do it this way. But if I did it this way, I get this answer. This should still be the same thing. You're just skipping another step here. So your final answer in this case is $20,340.32. All right, so the other method, which is probably a lot more of the popular method that most people will do, is because vehicles are more expensive, most consumers cannot afford to pay outright. Instead, many consumers finance the purchase with a loan from the automotive dealership or financial institution. When you take out a loan from an automobile dealership or financial institution, the total amount you pay is always going to be greater if you were to pay, for example, than outright at the time of purchase. The total you pay when you finance the vehicle is known as the deferred payment. The difference between the deferred payment and the total purchase price is known as our finance charge. Okay, so a lot of information there. A car loan is a type of personal loan. In order to calculate monthly payments based on the loan, you need to consult what we talked about before with houses, just like cars, the amortization table. The amortization table indicates the monthly payment required to pay a $1,000 loan for a given period of time at a given interest rate. So you're going to refer a lot to table 5.1, which is what I'm going to put on my website. Or I'm going to update my website pretty soon so that you do have the table on hand as you're doing these types of questions. So just a note of that. All right, so this is what the amortization looks like. Has your annual rate, so it'll give you a certain percentage, and it'll give you a finance for a certain period of years or months. In this case, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, to 5 years. Just keep in mind it's per 1,000 loan proceeds. That's the key information there as well. You can see it there as I'm zooming in here. Okay, so you'll have a copy of this. Make sure you keep a copy of this as you're doing the questions in the homework and the next example below. All right, so example 3 is going to be dealing with when we're purchasing with loans. So we're going to be using that amortization table. So you're going to need that out as we're answering this question. So I'm just going to read it through. Aurora Wheeler is able to make a down payment of $5,000 on a new midsize automobile. She purchases an example 2 for $20,340.32. In order to finance the remaining amount, she takes out a 3-year car loan on a fixed interest rate of 8.25 or 8.5, same thing, percent. So before we even get to the table, the first thing that we want to do is she made a down payment. So if she already made a down payment, she's already contributed to the car in one shape or form. So when you do go through the solution, you'll notice that you actually have to subtract this number. Okay, how much? And subtract it by 5,000, which is what we're going to do now. I'm just going to move this over here. So we want $20,340.32. We want to subtract that by 5,000, which is her down payment. Should see that. Okay, and she only really has to pay $15,340.32. Okay, so that's how much she's actually really paying. Okay, because she did make a contribution to her down payment here. Okay, so the next part now is actually looking at the amortization table. So it says she finances at an amount of 3 years. okay, and 8.4. So 3 years, 3-year car loan, 8.4. Those are going to be two pieces of important information as we go through. I'm just sifting through here. Okay, so the next part now is basically we need to find the rate. So in this case, when we look at our amortization table, we're looking at a 3-year loan at 8.25. So 8.25, 1, 2, my third year, it's going to be $31.45. But we're not done yet. Okay, so this is where the formula comes in. So we need this handy dandy formula. So if we go a little bit below here, this is the formula we're going to do to look for monthly payment. It's very similar to when we were using house finance. So we want to find the rates. Okay, so in this case, we already found the rate. We found it to be $31.45. So we're going to put $31.45 below. We'll just do this below. Okay, and we want to multiply by our price. In this case, our price, which we found to be $15,940.32. Okay, we're gonna put that above. So the rate times the price over the 1,000. Since this is a table of 1,000. Okay, so when we do that correctly, we should get a monthly amount of $482.45. Okay, so that's our monthly payment for answer A. All right, so B, now it's asking for deferred payments. Again, deferred payments is just simply how many times or the amount of times she actually pays off her car. So we only were able to find the monthly fee. Okay, so if we know that in this case 3 years is really 36 months, we know the amount of we know the payment in months. We simply just want to multiply 36 by the number of payments that we're going to make. So 36 months plus our payment in this case, which was $482.45. Okay, we simply want to multiply these two values. Okay, that's going to give us our total deferred payments in this case. So that gives us $17,000. Sorry. $17,368.20. Okay, so that's how much deferred payment she makes. Now, what we want to find out is, okay, so sorry, let's make a correction here. So this is how much she'll pay in 36 months. Okay, just purely, but to find deferred payments, what we want to do is take the loan payment we want to add it to the down payment. So the $17,368.20 plus the 5,000 equals 22,368. Okay, so that's how much deferred payment we actually made. Okay, so deferred payment, loan payment plus down payment. So we made that $17,368.20. We want to add it to our down payment. This is our deferred payment. Okay, and now the next part, okay, is C. All right, for C, we want to find the finance charge, or F. In order to do that, we have to subtract the deferred payment, take away from the total purchase price in this case. Excuse me. So the way to find that is our deferred payment, $22,368.20. We want to subtract it by our total purchase price. Well, total purchase price was $20,340.32. Okay, so when we subtract that, we should get a value of $2,027.88. That's in order to find our finance charge. Okay, we're going to be basically what we're do with that number is basically what it means for the finance charges. Or we'll pay an additional $2,027 or $2,027.88 in interest over the 3-year period. So the finance charge is what she's actually paying on top of her $20,340 that she pays as well. Something that you should notice right away is that the cost of purchasing a vehicle outright is considerably less, okay, than purchasing through an finance. So in the example, we talked about the interest of $2,027.88 is paid over 3 years. Loan, okay, of $15,340 because of her down payment. So keep that in mind.